human beatbox. Nobody, you're legendary for the parties that you throw. You throw a great party.
I'm a legend, baby, for a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
You know.
Huh?
Yeah.
Rumors are circulating that Diddy, a well-known personality, isn't eating his meals while he's in jail. People are guessing that he might think someone is trying to sneak poison into his food. OMG, Diddy has also been moved to a special area in the jail designed to keep him safe. This unit is already home to a person named Sam Bankman-Fried, who has been found guilty of cheating people. On top of that, have you ever wondered what it's like for a very well-known person like Diddy to end up in one of the most beat-up and dangerous prisons in America?
Sean Diddy Combs has been indicted on serious charges in what prosecutors call a long-running sex trafficking operation.
As Michael George reports, he pleaded not guilty, and his attorneys say the music mogul will fight this with everything he's got.
Since 2023, P Diddy's name has shown up in 11 different civil lawsuits. Not only that, but there's now a federal charge against him. The authorities arrested him, and he claims he didn't do it. But when he tried to pay bail to get out of jail, they told him no twice, even though he had a solid team of lawyers working for him.
Investigations in open cases. Since Diddy's move to this area of MDC, there are reports that he's spoken briefly to his children over the phone. Diddy has 7
His lawyers proposed a whopping $50 million bail for him to regain his freedom. This isn't just a small amount of money, it's huge. Diddy himself, his sister, his mom, his 3 grown-up sons, and the moms of 2 of his kids were all ready to sign off on this large amount to get him out. Diddy's defense team put forth a proposal outlining strict conditions for his release. They suggested that Diddy might be kept under close watch with limitations like a GPS monitor, restrictions on travel, and even specific rules about female visitors. However, Judge Andrew L. Carter, a district judge in the U.S., didn't agree with their plan. He felt that the proposed measures wouldn't be enough to ensure the safety of other people or to keep the integrity of the case intact. Diddy wasn't released but was sent to jail, specifically the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
Laura, what do we know about life on the inside there?
Boy, it is certainly going to be a lot different for Diddy. That much we know. And Diddy's lawyers have laid it all on the line, trying to get him out of the facility you see here behind me, offering up a $50 million package, among many other things, as collateral, including his Miami mansion, his mother's home, which total $50 million, security packages. But as you mentioned, and as we've been reporting, a second federal judge said, no way, he's going to be staying here for the long run until he goes to trial. And so this is going to be a very long haul here at the MDC. It's the Metropolitan Detention Center, Brooklyn. And it's been described as one of the most violent, dangerous, and at times deadly lockups. A former warden of the MDC actually says that Diddy's life is now in danger, he believes, at this notorious federal detention facility. And Combs' attorney says the music mogul is being held in the special housing.
According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the detention center, often simply called MDC, currently houses around 218 inmates of both genders. But Diddy's lawyers say that MDC is far from being a safe place. They describe it as dangerously run down and notorious for its terrible conditions. They added that the jail is overcrowded and doesn't have enough staff to manage things properly. Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, pointed out some alarming figures to back up these claims. He stated that 2 prisoners at MDC lost their lives in June this year, and at least 4 others committed suicide over the past 3 years. These stats, he claims, highlight the major issues with the detention center. In this jail, within the past half-decade, 6 of the staff members who work here have actually been accused of doing stuff that's against the law. Diddy's team really wants him to be moved to a different lockup spot in New Jersey, but Judge Carter has said that it's not up to him, but rather the bigwigs at the Federal Bureau of Prisons to decide that. So, for the time being, Diddy is stuck at the MDC, which is the place where folks usually get sent after they've been arrested and are waiting for their trial in either Manhattan or Brooklyn. It seems that the problems at the MDC are so big that some judges have decided they don't want to send people there at all.
New this morning, explosive allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. The latest accuser is Dawn Richard of the chart-topping group Danity Kane, which was formed by the music mogul himself.
She's filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of years of psychological and physical abuse, including groping, false imprisonment, and threats on her life. Richard also says she witnessed Diddy physically abusing his then-girlfriend, singer Cassie, his most high-profile accuser. The lawsuits seek unspecified damages and millions of dollars in lost income. Combs' reps say he is shocked and disappointed by the law.
Despite the not-so-great living conditions, it's interesting to note that the MDC isn't new to housing people whose names are well known. In the past, they've had individuals like R. Kelly and Sam Bankman-Fried, who's actually there right now. In November 2023, Sam Fried, who people often called Bankman, was found guilty of tricking people for money and secretly moving illegal money around. This happened after his digital money company, known as FTX, crashed. Interestingly, Fried is living in the same area in a detention facility as Diddy. This area in the detention center, called MDC, is for inmates who need extra protection. This could be famous people like Diddy or Fried, who are well known. However, it also includes other inmates who might need to be kept safe because they are helping with investigations into ongoing cases.
What? You say, I like when you do it like that, Daddy, when you scrambling and scraping for shit.
Hey, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't play games, y'all know. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man. I don't play games. I don't even think of no other man. Besides, if I'm thinking about another man, I'm thinking about uplifting. I'm not thinking about all that. All them gnats, you know, they can't really touch me. Y'all, at the end of the day, y'all see and y'all know what it is. You know, the track record. Y'all know the business acumen. Y'all know the community service. Y'all know what I'm about, you know.
Since Diddy came to this area of MDC, there have been stories about him having short conversations with his children over the phone. Diddy has 7 kids who are between the ages of 33 years and 23 months. There are reports that Diddy is worried about how his kids are dealing with his arrest and being in detention. At the same time, his kids are said to be in a tough situation, as they only know Diddy as a caring, dedicated dad. There are also rumors that Diddy has stopped eating. This could be because he doesn't like the food, but another possibility is that he's worried that someone might be trying to harm him by putting poison in his food. But is that something that could actually happen? It's hard to say for sure. Imran Ansari, a lawyer who has worked with famous people like rapper 50 Cent and movie producer Harvey Weinstein, recently talked about the arrest of a celebrity known as Diddy. Ansari said that he wasn't shocked when he heard about Diddy's arrest. He compared it to seeing clues in a mystery that pointed to an ending everyone saw coming. This was because Diddy was in a public legal battle, which hinted that federal officers might start investigating him. Not long after, officers searched his home, providing more signs that he could be in trouble soon. Now, Diddy has been arrested, and the judge has decided that he can't be let out on bail, which means he has to stay in jail.
Are not immediately clear. The rapper and music mogul was also seen on a video first obtained by...
Right now, he's in a Brooklyn jail, which has been in the news quite a lot. His lawyers have said that the jail is a terrible place to be in. They described it as horrifying, extremely bad, and not fit for anyone to live in. Describing the facility as less than ideal is definitely on point. There are numerous complaints suggesting it's not up to par with usual prison standards. We all know that prison isn't expected to be a 5-star hotel, but it surely must respect basic human rights for those living there. MDC Brooklyn, in particular, is notorious for its awful conditions, too many inmates in limited space, instances of violence, substandard meals, and poor sanitation.
I can tell you the reports that the facility is something that is less than desirable is 100% accurate. There's been a lot of reports of it being below standard in terms of prison standards. And of course, a prison isn't meant to be a comfortable place, but of course, they have to provide the basic human rights to their inmates. And MDC Brooklyn has been plagued with overcrowding, with violence, with poor food.
Even famous people like P Diddy, who has been kept in a special safety unit, haven't been spared from these harsh realities that MDC Brooklyn presents. And let's face it, this prison doesn't really offer much in terms of comfort or any amenities that a prisoner might wish for. So anyone who is locked up would obviously hope for a safe place to sleep, decent food, and some level of comfort. But this place poses an actual danger. Here's the scoop on how Diddy's day-to-day life looks a bit different from others around him. Diddy is in a specific area, a special housing unit for his own protection. This is not something exciting, but rather, it's pretty routine and normal.
Said apartments on Cleveland Avenue.
And do you know why it's called Haiti? Or why you call it Haiti?
Yes.
Tell the jury.
It was from my understanding of what the actual place Haiti was like. It was, from my understanding, Haiti was like run down.
The country?
Yeah.
He doesn't get to take part in some of the fun stuff that most people in the main part of the area, also known as Gen Pop, do because he's in a separate unit. This place is for his safety, which means the guards are watching him a bit closer than they do with others.
Brooklyn has been plagued with a lot of violent acts. It's been really criticized in terms of the conditions that prison inmates have to live with.
Everything he does, like going out of his room for free time or mealtime, is watched more closely. So, even though this special housing unit is there to keep Diddy safe since he's pretty well known, it also comes with some extra rules he has to follow.
A special segregated unit for his own safety, which means he's going to be under more constant observation by guards, his comings and goings.
After Diddy was arrested, there was news that he was put under close watch to make sure he didn't hurt himself. We're not quite sure if he was really thinking about hurting himself, or if this was just a step taken to make sure he was safe. What we do know is that a mental health expert comes to see him a bunch of times every day. Could this happen to someone like Sean Diddy? Well, he might not be thinking about suicide at all, but the idea here is to keep him safe. This is a common thing to do, especially when a famous person gets put in jail. It's a big switch, going from a normal life to a life in prison, which is something they're probably not used to.
Now that they are behind bars and they're facing criminal charges, it also presents a added sort of hurdle for.
So, it's not unusual for a person in this situation to be put under suicide watch just to make sure they're safe. The prison authorities want to make sure everything's okay, especially when a lot of people are watching what happens. Diddy's legal team has announced that he's prepared and ready to defend himself against the charges and allegations that have been made against him. Diddy has denied any wrongdoing related to the accusations against him. Obviously, he's gearing up to put on a fierce defense with his legal team, but being in jail, you might wonder, does that make things trickier? It does raise some interesting questions about how his lawyers will work with him.
Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety.
Have you thought that Diddy is in jail? How do his lawyers get to meet him? Do they have their own rooms? Do they use those telephones we often see in movies? Let's break down what this actually looks like. When a person is in jail, you meet them through legal visits. The conversations you have are on a secure line, a line just for lawyers that isn't recorded. This ensures your talks remain private under the umbrella of attorney-prisoner privilege. Also, the jail calls you. You can't just call up your concerned person whenever you want. So if there's something urgent you need to discuss with your client, you have to wait for that call from the jail or make the visit yourself to have a legal discussion. People in jail do get the chance to talk with their loved ones, which includes family visits. However, these opportunities come with certain limitations. For instance, there are only specific times they can make phone calls, and they also only have a set number of minutes for these calls if they aren't related to legal matters. Visiting times are also controlled.
Scene. And it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship. That was difficult at times, that was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be.
This is a big adjustment, and not just for the person in jail. It's a huge shock for their family as they now have to deal with the fact that the person they care about is now in jail. This could be anyone from Diddy's kids reaching out to him or visiting him, but now they face a bunch of rules they need to follow. And this is all happening in a very upsetting and emotional time. So, it's not just a change for the person in jail, it's also a big deal for their family. They have to accept the fact that someone they love is now in jail, regardless of what they've been accused of. Now, they must navigate the prison system just to talk or see them.
Force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair.
Even the calls to a family member or a friend can be recorded. This means that if you're not careful about what you say, it could be used against you later. This is something that P Diddy's lawyer, Mark, has probably warned him about. The inmates should be very careful with their words because they are recorded, and there's a risk that their own words could be used against them in the courtroom. So, these calls, which are not private or protected, could be used as evidence by the prosecutors or police. So it's crucial to be mindful of what you say. Now, let's shift gears a little bit to the rumors that are circulating about P. Diddy in jail. There's talk that he hasn't been eating much. Some suggest that maybe the jail food isn't to his liking, but there are also whispers that he might be worried about someone poisoning his food.
Maybe getting better care, let's say if they have a medical problem, or just generally we're making a pitch to get them out of jail.
Imran Ansari shares that the food served in prison isn't anything fancy like gourmet or Michelin-starred food. So, you have to see this from a realistic angle. He's probably been used to eating very tasty meals, the kind you get when you have a lot of money. So, maybe the prison food doesn't appeal to him at all. Or, it's also possible he's scared someone might harm him, and he doesn't want to risk it. Of course, these are all guesses, but it's a possibility. Do you remember Jeffrey Epstein's infamous incident? Some people think he didn't end his life, but was actually murdered while in jail. No one can tell what's going on in Diddy's mind. It could be that he just doesn't like the food, or maybe he has other fears. Prison food isn't known for its great taste, and that could be why he doesn't want to eat it. If that's true,
damning, it alleges that Combs engaged in a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women and other individuals, including physical violence, in order to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. What are the most serious charges in this indictment? And if found guilty, what punishment could he face?
Well, Sean Combs is facing serious charges. The first charge is the first charge is the one that's most serious for me, which is the racketeering conspiracy. And the reason why is that, but for that charge, there wouldn't be a federal case, because that racketeering charge is what allows this case to be in federal court. And also because of the timing, because we're talking about 2008, the racketeering charge allows for this type of case to go on because of the age of the alleged incidents. But that is the most damaging charge in this indictment. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets charged with additional counts, but we'll see in the future.
Diddy's lawyers are doing their best to help him. They've made it super obvious that they don't want him to be in MDC detention center. Diddy's team of attorneys, led by Mark Agnifilo, is pulling out all the stops and trying every trick in the book to get Diddy out. They're likely going to challenge the decision to keep Diddy in MDC and make their case for him to be somewhere less harsh. It could be that Diddy will have to stay home under close watch, or he might even get transferred to a different place. But it's important to remember that all such decisions are up to the prison officials, and there's no guarantee. His lawyers are gearing up to strongly defend him. Naturally, the legal team prosecuting him will stand firmly by their arguments.
Money, but after CNN obtained that video and after it aired, he apologized. Now, his attorney spoke with CNN a short time ago about that. I just want to play some of that sound.
It's interesting to see how someone so loved for his music and personality is now in a rough spot like MDC Brooklyn. His team was offering a pretty fair bail deal to the court, including house arrest and asset guarantees. No one can guess if this decision might be reconsidered or reviewed if circumstances change. Regardless, it's going to be a captivating case to follow. When you have a famous person like this one, you can bet the public will be paying close attention to every move from both the attorneys defending him and those prosecuting him. So, here it is. What do you think this situation tells us about how different things are for celebrities when they end up in legal trouble? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more news updates. Thanks for watching.